Hey Eagle fans, I'm Thomas Mott. Let's jump into the latest Philadelphia Eagles news and rumors we get rolling here on a Thursday, and we got some very interesting and brand new news to go ahead and jump right into. We'll start with the Dallas Goedert comments that he made to the media a couple of days ago, and really it's more about a Dallas Goedert contract extension, which has impact for the Zach Ertz situation as well. So, straight from the horse's mouth, that is Goedert himself, the Eagles have been talking with Goedert about a contract extension, which is kind of crazy to think that we're already at a point in Goedert's career where his second contract is coming up as he enters his fourth year. So technically, fourth year, fifth year option, so you don't have to sign him yet, but normally, if you like a player like I'm sure the Eagles like Dallas Goedert, you'd go ahead and get this deal done. That way it's a little bit cheaper, and then it locks him in for the next, 3, 4, or 5 years, whatever the contract length could potentially be. Now, also, in the conversation that he had with the media, he was asked about Zach Ertz, and we all understand that Ertz is most likely going to be traded, or at least cut anytime soon. Maybe you're watching this video a week after it was filmed, and he's already been moved, but as of today, obviously sitting here on June 3rd, he's not been traded. But so, Goedert was asked about the possibility of that, and seemed pretty confident to indicate that he understands that Ertz is going to be not in an Eagle uniform like we all expect going into 2021. Here's Dallas Goedert on Zach Ertz, exactly what he said about the mentorship and where they're at right now. Quote, Zach has been an incredible mentor to me. He attacked every day, how much he knew about the playbook, how much he knew about opposing defenses. We leave the huddle as a rookie, and he'd tell me what I was doing, who I was going to block, and I'm like, we're not even to the line of scrimmage yet. So just the way he approached everything, the way he's been able to dissect defenses, the way he's been able to attack leverage, and then learning from him was one of the biggest blessings of my career, end quote. And we've had this conversation before. Here's the deal. It's Goedert's time to shine. We all understand that Zach Ertz is either moved by the time you watch this video, as I'll keep saying, that way people don't go down below and be like, well, he's been traded, you're wrong. Well, not yet, right? But we understand he's going to be gone, okay? Now that means that the Eagles obviously have to shift over the tight end power to Dallas Goedert. And I think he's ready. I think that he's had enough time, his fourth year entering in the National Football League, learning under Zach Ertz to be as good as he can potentially be. Philadelphia took him in the second round for a reason, because they saw a lot of Zach Ertz in him. And I mean, you look side by side, they're very similar in terms of the way they play. Goedert's a little bit bigger, and honestly, I think Goedert has every single tool to go ahead and become the next great tight end in Eagles history. When you go back throughout the years, at least in my lifetime, 25 years, Brent Selleck was absolutely fantastic. L.J. Smith was really, really good, and they went to Zach Ertz, and now Dallas Goedert. It's a long line of very good tight ends. I think Goedert is ready to go ahead and carry the mantle. The problem he has had is injuries, and this has been, the story for a lot of Eagles for the past couple of years, but Goedert especially, you expected last year would be the year that he really assumed the Zach Ertz role, and while he did play in 11 games and had, almost 500 yards or a little over 500 yards, the injuries were still a little bit of an issue. So if he can stay healthy, expect him to be, in my opinion, a top tight end in the National Football League. I mean, there's no reason why he can't be a top 10, maybe even a top 5 tight end, but if he's got to stay healthy, and I think that if he's able to go ahead and do that, then the Eagles are going to be just fine at the tight end spot, regardless of what happens with Zach Ertz, whether they cut him or trade him, which we all expect to happen really anytime soon. There was that report a couple of days ago. We talked about here in the channel that a trade was expected any day, and so we sit and we wait, and obviously we'll cover it here if it were to happen, as we always do. Answer this comment down below. Okay, can Dallas Goedert be a top tight end in the National Football League? Type T5 down below if you think he can be a top 5. Type N5 if he is not a top 5. You see that on your screen right now. Again, T5, I think he can be a top 5 tight end in the National Football League, and I think he can. I mean, they're good tight ends, but he can be really, really good. Has all the tools. Type N5 if you don't think he can be a top 5 tight end. I want to see what you guys think right now. Okay, before we're going to keep going, Father's Day is just a couple of days away. I think it's like 2 weeks away right now. And so don't be like me and not know exactly when it is. And that way you can get ahead of the game and pick up a gift for your father right now. Go to chatsports.com/EaglesDad to pick up the perfect Father's Day Eagle gift box, which is an absolutely great gift idea for the Eagle dad in your life. So in the box right now, it's only $49.99. So it's like, $15 off of what it normally is. It's like $65 normally. So again, use our link. It'll be $50. And there's a ton of merch. And the worth of this box is up to like $80. You see on your screen right now, plenty of options here that come in the box in terms of getting the garden flag, you get the beach towel, and then a bunch of koozies and coolers and bottle openers and everything your dad needs for a great grill out Father's Day, as I know a lot of dads, including my dad, are very much into. So again, chatsports.com/EaglesDad to pick up the Eagles Father's Day gift box. And again, right now, $49.99 versus being $64.99. So you save some money and hopefully enjoy Father's Day with your father at the same time. Link will be down below right now in the description box. I want to jump into the next bit of rumors here in terms of our Philadelphia Eagles, and this one's really, really interesting. So, remember how 2 months ago, before the NFL draft, there were reports that the Eagles were interested in trading for Bears now quarterback Nick Foles? You remember that whole thing came out, and I was like, oh my gosh, are they going to bring back Nick Foles to back up Jalen Hurts? This is pre-adding Joe Flacco. Well, a new report this past week from an NFL insider says, yes, the Eagles were interested in trading for Nick Foles, and they wanted to do a deal and get the deal done. However, it was Nick Foles who refused to be traded to Philadelphia. So it was Nick saying, okay, Chicago, no, I'm not going to go play for Philadelphia. And he told the Eagles reportedly that if they would have traded for him, he would have sat out training camp. So this is very, very interesting that this now comes to light. And honestly, it makes a lot of sense. And I'll explain my thoughts on that in 1 second. First, it's Tyler Dune, an NFL insider reporter who has the quote on this. We'll throw it up on your screen. The Bears tried cleansing their hands of the Nick Foles mistake by trading Foles back to Philly. Foles didn't want to go. One source says the Eagles refused to trade for a quarterback who wouldn't report, meaning he wouldn't have gone to training camp, end quote. Now, I don't blame Foles at all. And I think you can sit here, and I think the Philly media up there in Pennsylvania can, run with this and be like, oh, Nick Foles didn't want to go to a dysfunctional organization. No, Nick Foles is so tired of being a backup quarterback that he just doesn't want to go back to the circus of Philadelphia. And I say circus because it would be an absolute circus if you went back to Philadelphia. Like, imagine training camp this year. Remove Joe Flacco, insert Nick Foles. Nick Foles is in there. We are doing every single week on this show and nationally, even in Philadelphia too, a debate on should Foles be the starter? Well, he won a Super Bowl. Why shouldn't Foles be the starter? Oh my gosh, versus Jalen Hurts. And then we have a camp battle. It would be an absolute mess. With Joe Flacco, you get very similar experience. Super Bowl champion, Super Bowl MVP. I mean, the guy was pretty good at one point. Not saying he is now, but he was. But there's no drama. Joe Flacco's not going to beat out a Jalen Hurts for the starting quarterback job, whereas Nick Foles might be able to. And you say, oh, well, Thomas, I mean, if he beats him out, then obviously he should go ahead and play. No, stop. Listen, Foles had his time to shine. He's proven that anywhere but a Doug Peterson, I'm blanking on that name right now, Frank Reich offense, he has struggled. You go back to Jacksonville, and so you go back to way back into Kansas City, and then with the Chicago Bears. It's better if Philadelphia stays with Jalen Hurts, and I like the idea of not even looking at Nick Foles, and I appreciate him turning the Eagles down. That way the focus stays on Hurts, as we've talked about a lot here on the channel. Now, Foles still has to battle it out for the starting job in Chicago, and it looks like he's probably going to lose out to Justin Fields, but I am just happy that Foles, wish him the best, move on, but I'm glad the Eagles weren't able to trade for him because that would have created way too much unnecessary quarterback drama, and I'm sick and tired of that based on what we've seen the past couple of seasons. Now, is Foles the greatest backup quarterback at all time? How about this question? You think you got to say yes, right? Type Y down below for yes, type N down below for no. If Nick Foles is the greatest backup quarterback of all time, big Nick Foles fan. I'm just glad that we don't have to deal with the drama of a potential starter backup quarterback when we got to just groom Jalen Hurts to be the starter and hopefully the star of the future. Okay, final bit of news and rumors here in terms of our Philadelphia Eagles. This is very interesting. There's a website called Fansided that does a lot of blog writing in terms of, the Philadelphia Eagles, and they have some interesting takes sometimes. Sometimes the takes they make aren't exactly, I think, relevant, but they made a very interesting article right now in terms of the possibility of Landon Dickerson playing in 2021. Now, to set the stage, remember Dickerson was the Alabama center drafted in the second round, which I kind of poo-pooed a lot early on because he just comes off a knee injury in December, and the odds of him being healthy by week one are still up in the air. So it was like, why would you take a center who might not play in year one in the second round when you want those guys to be starters and play, right? And so the way that this article goes is, one, the reports out of Philadelphia and the OTAs that Dickerson's knee injury is looking good. He's recovering very, very well, and looks like he could be back by time for week one. Like, there's a chance that he could actually play in 2021, which is kind of contrary to what we had been hearing and reporting over the past couple of months. Now, what Fansided recommended is that Dickerson could compete for the left guard job if he's able to be out as a Seumalo. Then you have a scenario where your second-round draft pick is actually able to go ahead and start. Here's what Fansided said about that, quote, while Dickerson was technically drafted as a center, he actually started out his career as a right guard at Florida State from 2016 to 2018 before he started snapping balls to Mac Jones, remember the Alabama Crimson Tide. Over his final 3 seasons of college football, Dickerson technically logged snaps at all 5 offensive line positions from left tackle all the way to right, end quote. So the idea here is that, if he's healthy, you might have a chance to get him to play, but the only spot it would make sense to play him if everyone else stays healthy is Seumalo's spot if he were to be able to beat out Seumalo, which is to me a massive if because Seumalo is really good when healthy at left guard. Here's the deal. There's zero rush to play Landon Dickerson. Now, that does not mean that I am still a fan of the Landon Dickerson draft pick. I think there could become a great draft pick in the future if he takes over for Kelsey and is the starter for the next 10 years, but I'm still not convinced that that's going to go ahead and happen. But I also don't want to thrust him out on the football field at left guard just because you need to play somebody taken in round number 2. You got to remember, it's a guy who's had a lot of injuries. It's much better to wait until he's 100% ready and then put him out there. That way you don't have a repeat of what's happened over his career. I mean, look at this. 2016, the torn right ACL. 2017 and 2018 had an ankle injury. And then, of of course, the 2020 torn left ACL. Philadelphia made a massive gamble on drafting this guy, but the hope is that once Kelce retires, most likely after this year, you have a plug-and-play center who's going to have a full year of learning behind Travis Kelce and can be the center of the future like Kelce has been, the center of the past, center of the present, for the next 5 to 10 years. In terms of taking Seumalo's spot on the offensive line, I said before, the Eagles' starting offensive line looks great right now. I mean, this is a top 5 offensive line, whether you want to admit it or not. It's been an injured offensive line, but when healthy, these guys are balling and ready to rock. And I don't think that Dickerson's just going to roll in and take Seumalo's job. It would have to be very clear that Dickerson was better than Seumalo in training camp, which I'm very skeptical on because I think Seumalo is a highly underrated left guard. He was in and out last year because of injury, but what offensive lineman wasn't? So I'm not convinced that Dickerson's going to, 1, play this year, or 2, take somebody's starting job, but I like there's positivity in terms of thinking that he has a chance to do so and therefore not be a complete waste from a second-round draft pick perspective in 2021. Now, I'll end on this. I'm curious. I asked this months ago, but give me your grade now, 2 months later, on the Landon Dickerson draft pick. A, B, C, D, or F. Where's your grade on this right now? Let me know what you think down below in the comment section right now. Grade the Dickerson pick, A, B, C, D, or F. Ultimate Effort Day here on Philadelphia Eagles Now. I'm your host, Thomas Mott. Make sure you guys are subscribed because we have a mailbag video coming up this weekend. And so, of course, subscribers have already submitted questions. We're going to film that in the next couple of days and get it up on the channel. So stay tuned for that. Of course, any other Eagle news happens, we'll break it down here for you guys. Again, for Philadelphia Eagles Now, I am Thomas Mott, signing off the rest of your day.